Welcome, Janae.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
Janae is going to be one of 54 authors at the Festival of Books and Creativity that's taking place at the end of June it, at the 12-mile crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi, Michigan. Now, we're going to have about 300 titles there overall.
Mm.
How many book titles do you have?
So I have a dystopian book series, and right now there are three books in that series.
Tell us about those books.
Okay, so I have the first book here. Yep. Here we go. Surviving Red. This explores a dystopian world where healthcare is illegal and the sick are being hunted down in a prison. So
Oh.
the first book kind of just drops us into that world where um, that system is already set up. We follow
Mhm.
the main character, Jade, here, who's on the cover. Um,
Ah.
she is a medical debtor, and this world has a task force called the DCs, who actually hunt down the sick, the people who are in medical debt, and she is hiding out from them. But ends up really getting on their radar when she kills an officer in order to protect a young girl.
Mm.
So just exploring that. Rebel groups, people fighting back against this insane law and system. So um, you see all of that. This idea and story came to me before our times today. So, um, yeah. And then I have the next book in this series. It's called Razor
Mm.
and Helena. It is a prequel to Surviving Red, but it does contain spoilers, so you will still have to
Oh.
read this second. But this book
Okay.
just kind of explains how the world that we see in Surviving Red came to be,
Okay.
um, and see how that law in the task force was created through Razor, who is used to be in the task force, and um, Jade's sister, Helena. So we get their perspectives on how this world came to be. And then the last book, well, not last, but the current book that we have is Fighting Red. And it just kind of picks up where Surviving Red kind of ended and left off, still following, still trying to fight against the system. I am currently working on the last book in the series.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it won't be out by the time
Oh.
this event happens. But yeah, so that is what you can expect to see there when you visit.
Awesome. Well, I love the covers. Do you do your own cover art?
No, I commissioned someone to do it. I tell them my idea and he kind of nails it for me. So,
Okay, so you have one person that's done all 3,
yes. Yep, he's
and
done all
and
three.
and he's gonna do book number 4 then?
Yes, he will. Yep.
Awesome.
And
And
then
it's because they all go together very well.
thank you. Like, yeah, I wanted it to be kind of cohesive, but the
Mhm.
artwork to really stand out on its own as well. So, yeah.
Very cool. So what got you started writing? Because you mentioned that the idea came to you before what's going on right now in our times.
Hmm.
So what brought you to this series?
So like my main character, Jade, um, I am asthmatic,
Mhm.
and it was a time in my life where my asthma was super out of control, and it was the time before the Healthcare Act kind of came into play, where I
Mhm.
didn't have insurance. Both of my parents are deceased, so I couldn't, get on a parent's insurance or anything like
Mhm.
that. So And for whatever reason, was always denied like medical Medicaid or Medicare. So
Mhm.
it was a period where I just was not insured, so I couldn't get my asthma looked at to be under control. And
Mhm.
whenever I would have a severe, asthma attack, I would have to go to the ER to get treated. And I started racking up medical debt.
Mhm.
Um, I went to one hospital where I owed the money, and
Mhm.
I was kind of stressed out a little bit because I was just like, what if they deny me? Or what if they
Oh.
type of consequence for me coming back to this hospital where I owe money to
Mhm.
or getting treatment on something that, is like I can't get under control because I don't
Mhm.
have insurance. And then it kind of spiraled from there. And then I was just kind of like, well, what kind of world would this be where people will think that that is plausible in? And so I just came up with the
Mm.
dystopian world and kind of led from there. It is kind of my open letter to medical care and the medical system in this
Mhm.
country. So yeah, so it's just kind of venting my frustrations with that in a way that can be relatable to everyone. Sometimes if you kind of sort of remove a little bit of reality
Mhm.
from the situation, people can kind of take that information in a little bit more. But
Yeah.
it's just weird that now that, I'm finally getting these stuff kind of published and out there, and it's hitting a little too on the nose now. But people still seem to enjoy it. So there's that.
That's awesome. So what year did your first book come out in then?
It came out in 2019.
Oh, just before the pandemic.
Yeah, just like right before. And then the next one came out in 2021, and then the third 2023. So yeah.
And then your fourth one is due out later this year?
Yeah, I'm looking at the fall of
Okay.
this year. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've got this series.
Hmm.
Do you have other books, series, genres that you want
Um,
to dip your
so
toe
my
in?
next one that I have a rough draft done for,
Oh.
that would be a duology, um, is a paranormal romance vampire
Oh.
book. So yeah, my cousin kind of begged me to write her a vampire love story, so I did that
Okay.
for her. And I liked it so much that I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and publish this and see how this does. So yeah, that's more to come with that. But yeah, dystopian, I kind of have a soft spot for.
Mhm.
Hunger Games is like my favorite book series. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it was definitely kind of inspired a little bit with that as well.
So are you a plotter or are you a pantser? Do you like your outline or do you just write?
I'm an in betweener.
Okay.
So I
A
realized about
pantser.
this. I try to be, because I did go to school for creative writing, and what we were
Mhm.
taught is to outline, outline, outline.
Mhm.
My struggle with getting Surviving Red done was that I outlined the heck out of it, but
Oh.
once I started writing, the
Mhm.
story did not want to go where the outline.
Story this way,
Yeah,
outline this
yeah.
way.
And I was just fighting against that so hard to the point where I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to give this outline up because if you will see my outline for Surviving Red, it's like nowhere near where it is published. So I got frustrated because I feel like all that time that I did outlining was time wasted. So
Oh.
with the next two books, I just kind of I had, how I wanted it to begin, the climax and then the ending. And
Mhm.
then I just felt like, okay, what is going to happen in this chapter that's going to get
Mm,
me here? So I
okay.
would just, before I start on a chapter, I will vaguely write, okay, this is what's going to happen in this chapter. And then
Oh,
I just
okay.
kind of write, end up
Mhm.
writing that. And sometimes even that is still, the chapter doesn't go go the way I kind of foreseen it. But
10
but
minutes
I learned,
later, we took an abrupt turn.
yeah, I learned to go with the flow of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so one day I will just vaguely outline a chapter, let it sit, and then the next day I will come to write on it. And that's kind of how I was able to write it and not waste the time of outlining just
Mhm.
for it all to be thrown out the window later on. So I like to say I'm an in-betweener. I kind of outline as I write, if that makes sense.
Actually, it does.
Okay.
I actually do reverse outlining, so I'll do the story and then I'll go back and
Hmm.
do an outline and see if there's something that I missed.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I totally get can't do the outline completely.
No, no, it doesn't work for me. Um, and sometimes you really have to be flexible when you're writing
Mhm.
because it sounds odd to other people, but sometimes your characters just have a mind of their own and they're just like,
Mhm.
nah, that's not who I am. That doesn't work for me.
You thought that's who I was.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. And that's how the Razor and Helena book came to be, because how I had Razor in my head, he was not that at all. So I was like, oh, this is an interesting character. I need to explore more about him. And so that's how he got his own book. Yeah.
Very good. So you went to school for creative writing.
Hmm.
What is your day job, or is writing your day job?
So I am fortunate enough to do writing full time. Um,
Awesome.
my husband is a big supporter of me, and he just told me to go ahead, focus on that, focused on, promoting your books, doing book events and things like that to get it out there,
Mhm.
while he kind of handles everything else. So I am very grateful for him, for doing that. And then sometimes we also do audio for film, um,
Mm.
different little productions. Mostly right now, we do a lot of post audio for local production teams and stuff like that. So
Oh, wow.
mm,
That's gotta be interesting.
it is. It is. Learning audio is very interesting.
Awesome. So to me, that's so awesome to have a very supportive spouse where
Hmm.
you can just focus on your writing and promoting because these books do not promote themselves.
No, no, no. Takes a lot of even in the age of social media and stuff like that. I still feel like it takes a lot of footwork for you
Mhm.
to get your stuff seen and out there. It's like it's cool to be on the social medias and stuff like that, but sometimes just the face to face in the in person learning how to pitch your books to potential readers
Mhm.
is um, a great and valuable experience. And yeah, so for me, I would do more in person events
Mm.
than kind of social media, because I feel like that's how I can also gain my organic following as well, is that having that face to face with my readers.
I am a big proponent of the face-to-face
Hmm.
events.
Hmm.
Virtual events have never I've tried the virtual vendor events, and
Hmm.
there's nothing like that in person, being able to talk to people and
Yeah.
see the people.
Hmm.
So do you do a lot of promoting on social media then? And if so, what platforms are you using?
Um, I do use social media. I will admit I'm not that consistent with it. Yeah, that's something I have to get a little bit better at.
Mhm.
But I am mostly on Instagram, and I've mostly been focusing on Substack. Um,
Oh.
I am on TikTok, but the whole back and forth on whether that app is going to be banned or not, I kind of given up because I was just like I'm kind of over it. So
Yeah, yeah. Will this be an avenue I can continue down?
yeah, so yeah, it's just mostly kind of Substack seems to be the way to go. So I'm on there and Instagram as well.
So what are you putting out onto Substack?
So Substack is weird. So they have this thing where it's like notes, where it kind
Mhm.
of functions like how Twitter is. And
Okay.
then sometimes I will put like just little writing updates and stuff like that. And
Oh, okay.
then to your the mailing list subscribers, I
Mhm,
usually put, events like this, what I'll be doing.
mhm,
Um, out to them to tell them, hey, you can catch me here, come to this event. And kind of also updating them on like the progress of the last book,
mhm,
the progress of where my audiobooks are going to be released and things like that. I try not to email them too much, you probably
mhm,
like once a month kind of thing, because I know I get annoyed sometimes with like everyday emails, but
mhm.
once a week or once a month, I'm fine with. So I try to keep that in mind too.
I totally get you with the emails because for this event, I have scaled back
Hmm.
to weekly emails for our attending authors and vendors and just
Hmm.
putting it onto our circle community because it's like, okay, it'll live there and you can check it when you need it.
Hmm.
I do not need to send out a million emails. Well, at least it felt like a million that I've done in the past. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I need to tell them. Whereas this way, I can put it on the one platform and they can check it out, and then I add it into the next week. So
Yeah. Well, and then it's the coming up with the content for it too.
yeah.
It's just kind of like it's a bit of a hassle as well. So, it's like I think I'll be good with coming up with a topic to write about once a month than every
Hmm.
single day or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So yeah.
Awesome. So, what other events do you have lined up between now and the end of June?
So I have a library event at Northfield Field Library. They're doing the spring book fest, which is an
Hmm.
outdoor event as well. So I'll be there. And then after that, which that will be at the end of this month.
Hmm.
Um, After that, I don't really have anything until the June event. So
Okay.
yeah.
Things will really, I would say, really kick up as far as events goes as you get into the summer and then
Yeah.
closer to Christmas.
Yeah. I noticed that it tends to once it gets a little warmer, it tends to pick up more with
Hmm.
the events, especially in Michigan. So,
Well, yeah, because you have to wait for the weather to get warm so you can
hmm.
have outdoor events because
Hmm.
who wants snow at their event?
Yeah.
Not for books. Well, awesome. Well, this has been great having you on, and I'm so glad that you took a few moments out of your day to check in with us and let us know what you're going to be having in your tent at the event.
Thank
And
you. Yeah. I'll also have like stickers and
oh,
in prints and stuff like that
Oh,
for sale as well,
nice.
that are of the characters and stuff.
Mhm.
So if you really like the artwork and want a poster or a sticker or a lapel pin or something, those will be there as
Nice.
well. So yeah,
Well, that'll be great. I look forward to meeting you in person, and I will see you in June.
the same. So excited. So thank you.